Hello and welcome to today's video. So this time we're going to be taking a look through the remainder of my Pan Major collection. Now this is from Pan M101 up to about M240, something like that, plus a few M series which don't have a number at the very end. I thought rather than split it over two videos, just do the whole lot in one foul swoop. And there's some absolutely fantastic and really sort of period paperbacks for us to have a look at. I think you're going to really love it. So sit back, relax, and let's get to it. Right then, we'll make a start with M101, which is a Georgette Heyer, Royal Escape. And in the last video, we done up to the first 100 Pan Majors. It's got a real sort of gothic feel to this one, hasn't it? Got a cover by Oval. Pretty cool. Now, this is almost like a double video, so I think I'm spoiling you a little bit here, but rather than doing just M101 to 200, I mean, I definitely haven't got them all, but I've just done right up to the very end of the series, as well as the some of the books which were M releases, but didn't actually have a number in them. So this is M102. Who was then the gentleman? Charles Israel. So you're in for a bit of a treat, I think, because you're going to get double the fun. 1965, which is sort of putting these M titles in date context. Alexander Cordell, Race of the Tiger. Now, was this the one? Yeah, this one here was, that's actually signed by him. That is his signature there, Alexander Cordell. What does that say? Is it something? It doesn't say kindest regards? Kind regards. Alexander Cordell, and it looks like the same hand up there. Pamela Evans, June 1967. Maybe that's who it was dedicated to. Pretty cool though, eh? I don't have that many signed Pam books, so it's always nice to have any, even by obscure authors. 105, this is The Silent People, Walter McKean. Ireland in the 19th century, when millions of people died of starvation or emigrated. And the great Daniel O'Connell roamed the land. This is the Irish famine. And you can see these are still quite big, thick books on the whole. And now this one is 107. This is The Spy Who Came In From the Cold, John le Carre. And this is the movie tie-in adaptation starring Richard Burton, Claire Bloom and Oscar Werner. There they are. I guess it is a classic, isn't it? A classic of its sort. Yes, absolutely. Once had an actual first edition of that through my hands. It was blooming lovely. Wish I'd kept it now. This one's quite a scarce one. At least it certainly used to be. I don't know if it still is. The Vampire. I've had a couple of copies through my hands. This one isn't bad. Not perfect, but not bad. And it's just sort of a horror anthology. A few of the authors in there. It's got the full story of Carmilla by Sheridan Le Fanu, which is only a short anyway, but quite a cool little anthology, that one which is sought after. Rumagodden, Kingfishers Catch Fire. This is M123. Still keeping the 5 shilling price point, which is 25p in today's money. Gavin Maxwell, he's a big seller for Pan, and his books are non-fiction. As you can see, they've got illustrations in, which is why this one appears as an M book, because it's done by price point. Green Light, Lloyd C. Douglas. A heartwarming novel by the author of Magnificent Obsession. So I've been thinking, now that I've been getting onto the M books, where should we go once we've covered all the Pan books, because after the M's there's only like little series, like the E's and the T's and a few other very, very small sort of runs, and like a miscellaneous series, the Pan Pipers. And this is M128, nice tight copy of this one, The Scorching Wind, Walter McKean. Another one set in Ireland. So my thoughts were that possibly once I've covered all the books in my collection, I would then go back and do videos on specific authors and artists and sort of pull their books together. And I also thought I might do some film tie-ins, so all the film and TV tie-ins that Pan published, say in the 50s, the 60s and what have you, you know. So I've got a few more ideas to keep the series running, and of course I'm forever picking up new ones, so I'll always have new Pan content on the channel, I think, certainly for a long time to come. Nicholas Monsarrat, this is The Schoolroom, Monsarrat's first great novel. This is M131, Split Scene, Frederick Mullally. I've got to admit, there's perhaps not so many well-known names in the M series, but there are some good books for sure, as we'll see. Photography, Philip Gottlob. This is another non-fiction book on photography. Itself a collectible subject. Lots of people collect photography books. Margaret Irwin, Royal Flush. This is a sort of the Regency market. This is a nice unread copy of this one by the looks of it. I never used to concentrate, 1966 now, I never really used to concentrate on these sort of later M books until much, much later after I started collecting Pans. I was always attracted to the early like Bond ones and things like that. Another one by Margaret Irwin, 134, so the very next number actually says 5 shillings along the bottom. Very reminiscent of the sort of Georgette Heyer Regency period, isn't it? And another one, 136. So they must have released a little run in order. This one's even bigger than the others. The Gay Galliard. Sort of Elizabethan time. Oh, Mary Queen of Scots. So there we are. Puts in a bit of historical context, doesn't it? Jack London. He's a classic author. This is the Pan Jack London. So I guess it's like a little best of. Yeah, so it's like excerpts from various novels, which is sometimes a good way of testing out an author, isn't it? Certainly, some of the older authors, that's the best way to read them. Someone's, just pulled out the very best bits. A bit like reading the Diary of Samuel Pepys. You wouldn't want to read the whole thing unedited, but the best bits are really, really good, M138, yay, yay, yay. Angus McGill, or McGill, not McGill, McGill. It's a nice interesting cover, isn't it? Like the line black and white. Henry Cecil and Richard Gordon had better watch out. So I guess this is a comedy. Yes, made me laugh out loud, it says on the back. M138. Paul Gallico, yeah, we know this chap. M144, Too Many Ghosts. Another nice copy of that one, nice and glossy. Catherine, One Love Is Enough. Juliet Benzoni. Set during the 100 Years' War. Historical fiction. Historical romantic fiction. There's a genre for you to avoid at all costs. Georgette Heyer, 150, M150. Cotillion. She's really got her fans, Georgette Heyer, I have to say. And her crime stuff's pretty good. But the romance Regency stuff I wouldn't touch. Not my bag. Winston Churchill, First Journey. This is his sort of early life. Fantastic stuff. Really, really good. Big fan of Churchill. And there we are. Nice original. M156. M158. Cain, Anvil of Victory. Alexander McKee. Looks like a wartime one. Illustrated. Brave and moving account of the confusion, the bravery, and the terror of war. Wow. Okay. I guess he was in a tank regiment. So it's M158. M164. This is part of the British Battles series, looking at Trafalgar. What about that was? Some illustrations inside as well. Yeah, good stuff. And then we got 166, Ewan Butler. Loyalty is my honour. Powerful and disturbing novel that crystallizes in the story of one young Nazi the whole tragedy of the Third Reich. Wow. Big thick book, this one. Quite worn, a bit foxed, but yeah, that looks pretty interesting, doesn't it? Right, well I better just pause there and I'm going to get this camera pulled out a little bit. Okay, M168, Red for Danger. Nice sort of perspective cover that, isn't it? The railway tracks going into possibly a tunnel. Is that LTC, Lieutenant Colonel Rolt, revised and enlarged edition and also illustrated. The fate of the Flying Scotsman in a blizzard. Disaster in the High Pennines. Head-on collisions at Norwich and Abermule. Blimey. This looks like, oh, look at this, train disasters. Tragic. M168. This is M169. The Other Kingdom, Victor Price. Look at the cover there. It's just not got the same charm, has it, as those gorgeous ones from the 50s and early 60s. Nice copy there. Yeah, just sort of light fiction, we should say. 173, M173, Pamela Frankow. Sing for Your Supper. Okay. Another Georgette Heyer, The Toll Gate, M177. I'm quite pleased with the condition of most of these. They're much better than some of my earlier ones. M178, Man on a Horse. That's an interesting 60s cover, isn't it? Look at that with the reflection in the glasses there. That's quite cool. Author of The Long Memory. Oh, and on the back as well. Yeah, that's nice. Frederick Manning, Her Privates We. Yeah, this is a book set during the First World War. That one. In fact, I vaguely remember getting that one actually. It's funny when you pick up a book that you haven't touched in a while. You sort of have that flashback to where you first got it. This one by John Braine, The Jealous God, author of Room at the Top. Another sort of interesting thing there where they've mixed a bit of artwork with the window and then a photo sort of superimposed behind it. Guess they were trying something a little bit different. This is 1967. But when you think the sort of covers that Penguin were putting out at this time, who had a really, dedicated graphic design department, they're a world away, aren't they? Josephine Tay, the Privateer. Another one in the sort of the swashbuckling, yeah, I was just going to say, the thrilling swashbuckling story of Henry Morgan. Just going to say it looked like something from that sort of period. Another nice copy of that one. Hannah Green, I Never Promised You a Rose Garden. Is that like the song, is it? A rare and wonderful insight into the dark kingdom of the mind. Wow, nice black cover, that one, which is going to show any little marks. So that's actually a really nice high-grade copy of that one, when you think that books with black covers are always tougher to pick up in nice condition. Oh, Lance Horner, Santiago Blood. Now, he wrote a lot of these, and I remember my gran reading these ones. They're sort of that, I guess it's called like plantation novels. They definitely have their fans, that's for sure, but it's not something I've ever been into. But that's what that is. Leslie Thomas. This is probably his most famous one, The Virgin Soldiers. Got a sticker on the back there, but apart from that, it's a not too bad copy, a little bit tanned around the edges there. But we won't hold that against it. That was 191. This is 193. Now this is Spectrum 4. Now the Spectrum series were a sci-fi anthology, Kingsley Amis and Robert Conquest. And Amis himself was a huge sci-fi fan, but he never really wrote much. So there's a little list of stuff. A few recognisable names in there, including my favourite, John Wyndham. But Amis as an author, absolutely fantastic. Brilliant if you've never tried him. Another big thick one now, M197, a Jean Pleady, or Plaidy. Royal Road to Fotheringay. Fotheringay! Yes, that's a book I'll never ever read. Just letting you know. Fishing. Can't stick fishing, you know. Tried it as a kid, never really got into it and didn't really see the appeal. And I don't really like eating fish. So all in all, we shall just pass over that. M204, Saber Wolf. This is one of the Modesty Blaze titles. And these are pretty cool, you know. She was like, the character was like a female James Bond, really. And these were very much published during the height of spy mania with James Bond and Man from U.N.C.L.E. or Danger Man and moving on to The Prisoner. 1966 in hardback and 67 in paperback. I think there's about 5 or 6 in the whole series of Modesty Blaze books. And they're very much of their time. They're all right. M205, The Thousand Plan, Ralph Barker. The story of the first 1,000 bomber raid on Cologne. Right, so this would have been Bomber Harris getting revenge back on the Nazis towards the end of the Second World War. And they really did go to town. This is the movie tie-in to Far From the Madding Crowd. Now, I've had a few of this, so I'm surprised that my copy's got a little bit of cover removal marks there, but there you go. So yeah, Julie Christie was in the movie adaptation of this, Terence Stamp, Peter Finch, and Alan Bates. It was a big film in its day, that one. Oh, this one I absolutely love. This is a real slice of 60s, you know, perfection in my eyes. This is Mary Quant. It's a Quant by Quant. And just look at it. It's a gorgeous book, this one. I've had a couple through my hands, but this is by far the best one. And it just exemplifies when this was published, which I believe is 67. Yeah, 1967. Just look at it. It's brilliant, isn't it? Fantastic period piece, this. not overly expensive. I mean, you might have to, if you found one in that condition, I would expect to be paying at least a tenner for it. But generally, if you just want one to read, you can probably pick it up for £5-6 off eBay, postage included. It's just a great book, and a real, I mean, she was, a real icon of the age. Yeah, one to look out for. That really nice one, that the Mary Quant one. 215, M215 of Patricia Highsmith, A Suspension of Mercy. These are great author. Got quite into Patricia Highsmith lately, although there's lots, so prolific. There's loads I haven't read. This is David Attenborough, Sir David Attenborough, part of his Quest series, which he did Zoo Quest for the BBC. It was some of his first ever sort of TV documentaries. This is Quest under Capricorn, which is a bit later. Don't believe this is a reissue. It said first published in 63, but the Pan edition 67. Well, we all know David Attenborough. Fantastic author. Did a book signing with him once, and it was a BBC one. I can't remember exactly. It may have been Life in the Freezer. But it was in the early 90s, and the place was packed, absolutely packed. It was amazing. Oh, another Patricia Highsmith. What a great cover that is for a photo cover. The Blunderer. Look at that. Looks like he's going to do something pretty nasty with that. Is that a paper knife or a carving knife? I don't know, but it looks good. Wow. Yeah, quite nice that, isn't it? This is, yeah, so it says this is the second printing by Pan, and it's the reset edition from 1967. There we are, you see. So that would have been the first time that book had that particular cover. And that's why I've picked it up, even though it's not like a first per se. Here's a great one. The second Hammer horror film omnibus by John Burke, and he adapted 4 stories, 4 Hammer films for this little omnibus here. M223, very nice. Great artwork. I'm not sure who did the artwork on that one, so I'm going to rely on my friend Tim to let me know, because I believe either Tim himself or one of our friends has actually got the artwork for that book. No doubt he'll leave a comment to put us straight. Another great one. This is M228, The Fly, and Richard Chopping. So Richard Chopping is, I guess, most well known these days. He did a couple of Puffin picture books, which are beautiful, but he's most well known as the chap who designed the majority of the Ian Fleming James Bond Cape first editions. That really intricate style. And that's who Richard Chopping is. But this is a novel that he wrote called The Fly. And this one's quite scarce. If you're looking for a copy of this, I think I've only ever had 2 in all the time I've been collecting Pans, of course. And that's the best one I've ever had. I've not looked it up, but I just know from experience it took me ages to get a nice one. So Gavin Lyle now, shooting script. This is M231. Quite a nice little montage of guns and dice and a sniper's target there, maybe. Let's make another little pile over here, because we've still got a fair few to get through. M233, Dr. Jason Love. Passport to Peril, James Lesor. Hand grenade with an eye in it. Another nice copy of that one, actually. The Thousand Doors, M234. Back into the realm of photograph covers now, where they take a few little elements from the story and put them into a photo jacket. Oh, look at this. So what's this? So it says, this is a most unusual sort of thriller. Rather macabre though. Don't know if it's your cup of tea. So someone's given this as a present and they've put that little note inside. How cool is that? 17th of September 1967. Blimmin' egg. That's brilliant, isn't it? This is a most unusual sort of thriller. Rather macabre, though. Don't know if it's your cup of tea. That's awesome. That's one of the best little notes I've ever read inside a book. Right, what's this? M235. The Cross of Lazaro. John Harris. Ugh, awful artwork on that. No, don't know much about that. That's just they're making up the numbers, isn't it, that one? Another one by John Harris. And that was M235. This is M236. So they published them back to back. This is his famous novel of air sea rescue in World War II. Bit of a better jacket, that one. They both, both of these seem look brand new almost. You know, they don't even seem to have been read, and I doubt I shall ever read them. Oh, Georgette Heyer again. Bath Tangle. M239. Self-defense and judo. Okay, how to learn judo, eh? And these are stuff like a Pan original, so I honestly don't know if those would be easy to get today or impossible to find. But, you know, I've sort of picked it up because I've spotted the Pan logo on the spine and grabbed it. And look, it's another one by Alexander Cordell, who we saw very early on in the video. The Sinews of Love. M246, The Man in the Mirror. Super spy thriller, Frederick Eyre. Once again, it's another really sort of minty one, isn't it? And yeah, this has never been read. You can sort of see it's fresh. Fresh as the day it was printed. All the way back in 1967, so that 54 years old, that one. Cool stuff. That's how we like them. Mint as mint can be, if you're a collector. So an Alfred Hitchcock anthology, Stories My Mother Never Told Me, Part 2. M250. Let's see which ones were included in this one. A novelette, The Idol of the Flies, Jane Rice. Hitchcock introduction for a couple of pages. And then at the very end, Some of Your Blood by Theodore Surgeon. Well, I do recognise that name. In Praise of Older Women. The Amorous Recollections of Andras Vajda. Okay. Let's put that nice pile there. Young Bess, Margaret Irwin. This is M258. We are getting fairly near the end of the run now for the M series. That says it's a second printing from 1968. A Georgette Heyer, 272, Frederica. These are all very similar. I guess they stood out on the shelf, didn't they? M273, which is The Extraordinary Seaman. This was a movie tie-in with David Niven, Faye Dunaway and Mickey Rooney. Don't remember this one. I don't mind David Niven. He's a great actor, actually, or was. 1968 now, we're looking at. So all these books have been published over really the space of a couple of years. This is the last numbered one that I've got then, and it's M274. It's a book on Kim Philby. He was a spy, and it's written by Eleanor, the spy I loved, not the spy who loved me. Wonder how well this one sold. Didn't he defect to Russia, Kim Philp? Yeah, no. Basically he had to live out his days there, as I seem to recall. So that's all the numbered ones, but I have got a handful of other books which are M series, but they don't have a number. So you see that's got an M there. So this one's Spectrum 5. So we saw Spectrum 4 earlier. Spectrum 5 by Kingsley Amis, another sci-fi anthology. And who's in this one? Oh yeah, a few names there. But these ones here, they've still got the pan prefix for the number, but they have actually got the early ISBNs. So they're on that sort of borderline period where ISBNs disappear, or come in rather, and pan series numbers disappear. And I did also spot there that this is a W. Francis Phillips cover. So that has got a nice painted jacket, that one. And that must have been quite nice. I didn't spot that before. I've never spotted that before. This one here is called, it's a John Dixon Carre, crime author, Panic in Box C. Dr. Gideon Fell. Look at that, a skull with a wig on. It's pretty cool, isn't it? I haven't got many of these, but I have started to pick them up as they've come my way. This is a Hornblower. It's a Hornblower in the Crisis. Really like the C.S. Forester Hornblower books, and that was one of the ones that Penguin didn't have. Gavin Maxwell, Ring of Bright Water. This was the movie tie into that, if you can believe it. Bill Travers and Virginia McKenna. Look at that jumper. God, you wouldn't be seen dead in that nowadays, would you? This is a P.G. Wodehouse, Plum Pie. Not one of his better ones, but nice to have all the same. John and Mary, Mervyn Jones. This is another movie tie-in, Dustin Hoffman and Mia Farrow. This one is another one, still in the M series there, Leonard Mosley's Battle of Britain. And the very last one, well, I've got to end on a real classic, haven't I? Which is an M1. It is, there we are, Colonel's Son, by Robert Markham, who is, of course, Kingsley Amis. That was the first non-Fleming James Bond book. Real nice copy of that one from 1970. Cool. So there you go. Hope you liked that final look through my Pan Majors. Certainly some fantastic titles in there. So in about another 4 or 5 weeks or so's time, I'll start to look at a few of the other minor series, so like the T's and the E's and the C's, and a few of the other sort of the short-lived series in the Vintage Pan books. So until then, thanks very much for watching today. Do please hit that subscribe button if you've not already for regular Vintage Pan book content, and I shall see you again very soon. Bye.